This is an ornament workshop, and I'm going to be featuring the beautiful, this workshop is for everyone that purchased our beautiful napkins from that I'm calling the Easter Story. It's a specialty faith-based bundle. Okay, they're so pretty. I love them so much. And this is our very first workshop. So this workshop is at no additional cost. If you did not get a bundle of the Christmas Story napkins yet, you can. Okay, we still have them available. And I'm actually going to be working with one of my favorite napkins in the whole group. And it's this one. I love this one, and I love it because it's all the images I created, but in a miniature version, in a smaller version. So that way, they're perfect for ornament size, okay? Especially for the type of ornament we're going to be making today, which features a technique called reverse decoupage. Now, this is something I love to do, and it is so beautiful with clear ornaments, okay? So these are the clear ornaments I want to talk to you about that I'm going to be using. You guys, I get these ornaments at Hobby Lobby, and I have them in the package here to show you. So for $6.99, they're probably on sale now because I think almost all Christmas is like 50% off already at Hobby Lobby, which is crazy to me. But there's 12 pieces in here. These are the small, oh, I'm sorry, that can't be right. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh yeah, there are. There's 12 pieces. Okay. This is the small disc. All right. And I put the item number in the supply list, okay, for you. So if those of you that need to want to order online, it'll make it easier for you to just put in the item number. So that's on your supply list. And there are two sizes of this disc. You see that it's not round. It's kind of flat. I'll kind of hold it up like this for you. See, it's not perfectly round. It's a disc. Okay, that's what they call it. It's a disc. This is the small one. They do make a larger one as well. And then the square ornaments, which I love very much. Now, the square ornaments only come 8 to a pack. That's what threw me on the other one. So they look like this. Now, why do I like the square and the disc best? Okay. The reason I like the square and the disc best is because it's a flatter surface for us to put our napkin art on, right? A napkin is flat and straight. And when we go to put that on something round, we can get a lot of wrinkles kind of around the edge, that kind of thing. So I really love anything that has, whoops, somewhat of, you know, more of a flat surface. So these disc ornaments, these square ornaments are perfect for that. Now, the other thing that has changed about these ornaments, because I've been creating with them for quite some time, but let me show you one big change with these this year. Look right here. They used to be glass. They were a very, very thin glass. Now they are plastic and shatterproof, which is actually a nice thing. So if they hit the ground, like I just dropped one a minute ago, it won't break. So their new version of these are all plastic and shatterproof, and that is a good thing. Okay, that is a good thing. Yes. Good morning. Yes. So if you bought some previously, maybe last year or whenever, yours may still be the glass ornament. So just be careful with it. Now they're making them in shatterproof plastic, which is great. Okay. That's going to be great for us. So this is the napkin I'm going to be using, my miniatures napkin. I'm going to open this up so that you can see. You're going to wind up with 2 squares of these images, and then also 2 squares of the rounds. All right. So these are going to be perfect. And actually, this was kind of sized specifically for the square ornament in mind. Isn't that going to be gorgeous? Yes. And I apologize for the lights. I may have to turn this one overlight off so you can see a little bit better, but we'll do that in a minute. We'll do that in a minute. All right, you guys ready to get started? Yes, these are shatterproof plastic, but last year and previous years before, they have been kind of a thin glass. So that's just something to know. Now, what we do have to be careful about, since these are plastic now, is if you're going to use your heat tool. I use my heat tool a lot to speed up drying, right? To speed up the drying process. This is a heated craft tool. Some of you have those industrial strength like heat tools, like you would see in a mechanic's garage or something like that, right? If you've got one of those really industrial strength heat tools, you're going to have to be a little cautious. You can't keep your heat gun as close to the ornament as I can, okay? Because it could melt the plastic. All right. So those of you that have that industrial strength heat gun, your heat gun needs to be like, way up here, not down here, way up here. Okay, you can still use it, but don't get it so close that the heat melts the plastic. Okay, that's important to know. All right. Oh, yeah. And I see you're saying you have almost all, let's see, who was that? Jeanette. She has almost all the supplies except for the gold, the Krylon pen. And that's okay, because the Krylon pen we can use for some things, but there's also other things we can use as well. I may need to slide the video volume on the volume feed. Okay, I have my volume turned up as high as it will go. It is up as high as it will go. I'll just speak louder if you need me to. Oh, that's somebody else has no sound. Oh, okay. Can everybody else hear me? I thought it was me. I thought she was talking to me. Yes, I'm actually really happy these are shatterproof plastic, right? That way we know if one slips out of our hand, we know it's not going to bust. All right. We just have to be careful with the heat with them. That's the main thing. All right. Well, I'm ready to jump in. You guys ready? I'm going to walk you through my process of reverse decoupage. Now, this is a technique that I have taught in my napkin club. I do have a napkin club. So for those of you that aren't familiar with working with napkins, if you really enjoy what we're doing with the Christmas Story Napkin Bundle, you might want to come over and possibly join us in the napkin club. So we'll provide you with a special invite as we get through. We have a workshop today. We'll have another free workshop on December 4th. So make sure and put that on your calendar as well. Wednesday, December 4th at 11 a.m. Central. Okay. Yes. And there is another specialty workshop, but we'll talk about that at the end today. Okay, I'm ready to jump in. You melted yours with a heat gun. Yeah, you have to be careful. We got to be careful with those heat guns. But it's okay. It's all right. You've learned now. And so hopefully it won't happen again. Okay. All right. I'm going to switch over here to another screen. And I'm going to show you the first step in reverse decoupage. Okay. So I'm going to switch this out. I just want to make sure that you guys can really see my hands well. I have 4 and 4. 4 of the squares, 4 of the small disc. This is the small disc. Again, there is a larger disc. As far as I know, there is not a larger square, just a larger disc. And we're going to start off doing things a little bit backwards. Normally, when we're doing napkin art, we would do things in the complete opposite order, but not this time, because we're going to be working on the back side of the ornament. So if you have an ornament and you're looking at it, we do want to make sure that you've kind of cleaned them. We'll clean them again. We'll kind of clean off the fronts after, but we'll make sure, because we're going to have to hold them. That's just what we're going to have to do. But I did go in and just kind of wipe them down, clean them a little bit before coming live with you today. Okay, so all of the steps I'm going to give you, these are the exact steps I want you to follow, and if you follow them, your clear ornaments are going to be gorgeous. This is one of my favorite all-time favorite ornament techniques. Okay, So we're going to start with some sparkle. We're going to start with some sparkle. We could use diamond. I have diamond. I have unicorn here. I think crystal is also another one that's really beautiful. This needs to be a clear sparkle. Okay, so what is the difference? Crystal, which I don't have one here to show you. Crystal is more of a kind of a iridescent sparkle. Diamond has a little bit more of just kind of a gold fleck, of sparkle. And then unicorn gives us a little bit of both gold and silver, kind of a gold and silver sparkle effect. So I'm going to start here with diamond. And here's what we're going to do. It's very simple. I'm going to do dot, 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 just kind of like little dip dots all over the back of my ornament. Okay, I think you can see that okay. Now, I personally like to use my finger for this, but if you don't want to get your finger, sparkly, you could use, a paintbrush. But I like to use my finger because it just helps to kind of pounce everything out. You don't want to brush this on. If you brush it on, you're just kind of brushing around all of the sparkle. And we're just going to kind of pounce over. This will wind up being the back of our ornament. Okay, so I realize some of this may seem a little bit counterintuitive, but again, it's reverse decoupage. So we're doing things in kind of a reverse pattern. And these are going to be so pretty. So again, dip dot, dip dot, dip dot. And then just pounce, pounce, pounce. If you want to use a brush, you're going to do the same kind of pouncing motion. I'll just wipe my finger off when I'm done. And make sure you're getting this entire back section. This is the only part that I add the sparkle to. Okay. Yes, it's going to be gorgeous. We're doing this now because we need this to dry. I'll probably use both of these colors today. Again, just real fast. And you guys, when you're making these ornaments, this process works really good making several at a time. Okay, so instead of just making one ornament all the way through, I would just go ahead and kind of assembly line it. And that way you're getting several ornaments done at one time. And these ornaments are going to look gorgeous. They're not so big that you couldn't put them into on a smaller tree. So we usually put up 2 full-size trees, but I have some counter height trees, some trees that I put on tables and, things like that. You could have one whole tree just kind of dedicated to the Christmas story with these ornaments. That would be beautiful. I'm going to go ahead and do these 2 while I'm at it. And again, just pounce, pounce, pounce. I like leaving the topper in them in the beginning. We'll take it out eventually, but I like leaving the topper in them to start. It's kind of a nice handle. It's something nice that we can kind of hold on to. And again, just one side, and this is going to be specifically the back side. So the reason we're sparkling this first is because this is actually the side we're going to put our napkin art on. And so when you look through the ornament, the napkin art is going to be beautiful and sparkly. Okay, let me look over here and see if we have any questions. You're going to do a Christmas story tree. I love that. Yeah, I love that, Lynn. I think that's awesome. These would also make beautiful, I think these would make a beautiful gift set for someone because, what a wonderful keepsake to give someone. So maybe if you're wanting to make extras to make a set for, I don't know, your kids, your family members, I mean, what more beautiful thing? What a beautiful gift, and such a beautiful way to keep Christ in Christmas. And a fun way to kind of display the story of Christmas, right? The other thing I was going to tell you is these, I think, could be really pretty, even displayed on, you know, a wreath, a garland, banner. Ornaments are so fun. You can just use them in so many different ways, right? So pretty. Okay, so now I have all of these covered and I have a beautiful sparkly finger. Okay, so if you have a baby wipe or, you know, just something to clean up your finger with, that's what you will do. I have a little wipe right over here, a paper towel, a wipe, just something to clean up your finger with. You have a dedicated tabletop tree for ornaments, Betsy? Cool. Yes. Okay, can you skip this step if you don't have it? Yes, you can. If you don't have any stickles, you can skip that step. They'll just be clear. Your ornaments will just be clear. They just won't have that sparkle effect. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead now and grab my heat gun. Okay, I'm going to grab my heat gun and I'm just going to kind of start blowing over. I'm not trying to heat set anything. I just want to help the stickles. It's thin. It usually goes on pretty thin when you pounce it with your finger like I did. Just want to help these to dry. So this is where I want you guys that have the super duper industrial heat guns to beware. Okay, let's beware. We'll dry these for a minute, and then we're going to cut napkins too, so we can be cutting while this dries as well. For those of you out there, if you don't have stickles, oh my gosh, you need to get some. I put stickles, I use the stickles all over my Christmas projects. Anywhere I want to add sparkle, I use it so much because I'm not really a fan of loose glitter. I don't really care for loose glitter. So this is how I get my sparkle. And it's more, honestly, it's really kind of like a glitter glue, really. Okay, so we're going to let this just kind of sit here. If you were using a paintbrush, again, just pretend like my hand is the ornament. I would be pouncing with this fluffy paintbrush just like I would have been with my finger. Okay, if you're brushing it back and forth, you're just kind of moving the glitter around. So pouncing is a much better idea. All right. Okay, let's see. Any other questions out there? You deliver to your close friends. Oh, you're afraid to mail any. Well, that's the other thing. I'm not as afraid to mail these now, especially since they're shatterproof. That is a big plus. All right, I'm just going to kind of slide these over. And I'm going to grab my napkin. Now, the napkin I'm using today, I have all kinds of goodies here for us to play with, or for me to play with, is going to be the smaller one. This is one of the napkins in your bundle. I purposely made this one on purpose for small ornaments, for ornaments just like these. I really wanted to make some clear ornaments with these this napkin art. And so the first thing I'm going to do is come in and do some cutting here. So go ahead and cut this square. I'm going to cut 4 of these images that are square. And it's a very easy line to follow. Just follow. You'll be able to see it just right where the images meet. We're just going to cut straight up that line. And these are going to be the perfect size for the square clear ornaments. So I'm going to use these on my squares. And then I kind of want to use, well, there's a couple different places we can use the round. So pretty. So we have the shepherd scene, the shepherds tending their flock. We've got our beautiful angel. Hold them up here so you can see them really well. Our beautiful angel. Joseph, Mary, and baby Jesus. And the wise men. Okay, and the wise men here. So pretty. Okay, so now when it comes to the circular ones back here, these are going to look awesome on the disc ornaments. Okay, these disc ornaments, but there's also another place they could look really, really good, and that could be behind behind our napkin art on the back of these ornaments. So just I'll try to walk through this with you. If this goes down, it's going to go down like this. We're going to do some painting behind it, and this could even go back here so that you have a different image on the front and the back. It's really up to you if you want to decorate the back of your ornaments or not. Some people do. Some people like to write a message back there. Or stamp, on it, or, something like that. Now these, I'm going to use my detail cutting scissors for this. These I'm cutting around the gold. Okay. There's a little gold outline on all of these little circles. So I'm going to put them on the disc ornaments. And I don't plan to put anything on the back. I might later, but not today. Today, I really want to focus on the front side of the ornament. That's the side of the ornament people are really going to see. I think the back side, we can still make the back side look pretty. And then if you decide you do want to decoupage some napkin art on the back, you can do that. Or you can sign and date them. You can do a to and from, whatever you'd like to do on that. Okie dokie. I got you addicted on Stickles? Yeah. That's an easy addiction. And they do come in colors, but I really prefer the clear ones, my three favorites, because really whatever color you put them on top of is the color they kind of take on. So, but they do also have some out there in colors. But these are the three colors I use the most: crystal, unicorn, and diamond. Now, when I cut my napkins, just in case some of you out there have never really worked with napkin art before, I don't separate the plies while I'm fussy cutting. The napkins are way more stable when you're cutting them, when the plies of paper are together. These are 3-ply napkins. So now that we've cut these, we're going to separate them because we need to separate the plies. All right. So just want to show you. So all 8 of these ornaments I am able to do with half of this napkin. Okay. So I could do a whole nother set of 8 with this other half of the napkin. So this one napkin, you guys, is going to yield us 16 clear ornaments. Okay. Isn't that fabulous? I think it's fabulous. I'm so excited. So that is awesome. Okay. So let me show you what I do. I'm going to go ahead and switch my screen here. And this is what I do when I'm separating out. Okay, Mary Jane says, I could only find the larger round ornaments. Can I use larger napkin art as well? Yes, you can use whatever size you want. You may even want to try this on the larger ornament, or use some of your other napkin, your full-size napkins, and just kind of trace around those for the parts that you want to see on it. Okay. Yes, absolutely. We sell these scissors and they are really nice. They took me a little while to get used to, but they have the recoil action, the spring action, so they are so easy on my hands. Very, very easy. As you know, yeah, guys, I craft a lot. And after a while, my hand can start to cramp when I'm using certain scissors. They do not cramp at all with these because they have that spring action. And they're super sharp. They're really great for detail cutting. Okay, let's separate our napkins. Okay, so I'm going to show you the first way that I do it, and then I'll show you another way you can do it. Okay, I do what I call the lick and stick method. And again, this is for those of you, there are probably some of you out there that have never done any napkin art before. This is what I do. It's my fingers. I tap them on my tongue, my thumb and my pointer finger on my tongue, just to get it a little bit wet, and then just tap it till it feels kind of sticky. And then just press my fingers together and look what happens. Oh, voila, look, that one came off. There's 2 plies here. So we need to take off the 2 plies because we only want the top tissue that has the artwork on it. Okay. Now, if that grosses you out, and I know I get made fun of because some people, it just really grosses them out, you can also put just a tiny little dot, just dip your finger in a tiny little bit of Mod Podge and just tap your fingers together till it feels sticky. It works just the same. Okay, so just a tiny little dot of Mod Podge. But I'm going to stick with my old faithful, my little lick and stick method. Be careful as you separate the napkins. We want to be cautious that nothing tears. And so we're just going to spend a minute separating. Make sure you're getting the 2 plies off. Sometimes we get lucky. They come off at the same time. That's always greatness. See, I'll be able to take these off at the same time. Here's what happens if you don't, just so you know. If you forget to take off a layer or you forget to take off 2 layers, the problem is when you go to put your napkin art down, immediately the layers try to start lifting. You get bubbles, you're going to get extra wrinkles. It's just kind of can turn into a mess. And with reverse decoupage, because this would be the layer going down first, sometimes as those other layers start to bubble up and you try to take them off, it can tear your bottom layer. So it's just important to make sure. And all of the napkins that I designed in the Christmas Story Bundle, there will be an Easter story one as well. That's why I keep saying it, because I'm actually working on a few ideas for an Easter story bundle. So anyway, this one, the Christmas story. Now I have these all separated. Okay. All right. So we have a pile of squares. We have our pile of circles. I'm going to come over here. These are still just a little bit wet. So I'm going to finish out drying these. And let's put some scissors on top of these so they don't blow away. All right. Any questions of anything we've done so far? What are these ornaments called? They are clear ornaments. They're now made out of shatterproof plastic. Gloria, I get them at Hobby Lobby, and I actually posted a supply list for this workshop. It's saved in guide number 1 here in the Create and Connect public Facebook group, my Facebook group. So you can print that off. I shared the item numbers, so it would be really easy for you guys to order them online, go in and find them. I'm pretty sure they're all 50% off right now. All of Christmas is 50 off at Hobby Lobby. Okay. So the item numbers are in there of these that I'm using. The little discs come in a pack of 12. The squares come in a pack of 8. There's also a larger disc that would be beautiful. But for today, I'm marking with these two sizes. Okay, it's feeling pretty good. Yeah, just we'll try them just a little bit more. Trying not to touch the fronts. So be cautious about your heat tool. If it's a craft heat tool like this one, you know, you can get it fairly close. We do not want to melt the plastic. If you have an industrial strength heat gun, you need to back your heat gun way back. Way back. Back it off. Okay, that should do it. Oh, yeah. There might still be a couple little wet spots, but I think we're good here. Okay, let's start with the easier ones. Let's start with the squares. Now, the next thing I'm going to use in this technique process is going to be Mod Podge, but I want you to notice it's the purple label, okay? It's the purple label, all right? The purple label, you guys, is for hard coat Mod Podge. And as you work with napkin art as many years and as long as I have, you start to learn which things are better for certain surfaces. The hard coat Mod Podge is so much better for non-porous surfaces like glass, plastic, metal, anything that is non-porous like that. So if I wanted to napkinize like a mason jar, I'm going to use Mod Podge hard coat, the purple label. Okay. It's much more clear. The yellow Mod Podge, like matte Mod Podge, has a tendency to, you'll kind of see the brush strokes through it. It's just not quite as crystal clear. The hard coat Mod Podge is so much better. Plus, the hard coat Mod Podge is thinner. It's thinner, so you have less, I'm going to call it slippage. Okay. You have less slippage when you put the napkin on, the napkin art on, right? And you go to smooth it and all the things. Sometimes it can kind of slide when it's on a non-porous surface like plastic, glass, metal, you know, a surface like that. Okay. We did a window project in the Napkin Club. It was gorgeous. We're going to be doing a lantern project in the Napkin Club coming up soon. And again, on the glass for the lantern, I'm going to use the hard coat Mod Podge. All right. It just, to me, hands down, is just going to be such a better quality look. Okay. Now, if you don't have hard coat Mod Podge, you can get some from us, or you can check and see. Not all craft stores carry the hard coat. It's the purple label, but you can check your craft store and see if they do. We carry some as well. But I don't want it to keep you from doing your ornaments. If all you have is the yellow label, then go ahead and use the yellow label. All right. But in the future, this part of this workshop is to teach you what are the best things, right? The best mediums to use for certain surfaces. And that's a lot of what I teach in the Napkin Club as well. Okay. All right. So we're going to use the hard coat. I'm going to put a little dish down here. I'm going to go ahead and change my screen again. There we go, so that you can see. So I'm going to pour out a little bit of this. Has a little different consistency. I really enjoy using it. All right, so now I'm on the stickled side. Look how the stickles, see how they've gotten all nice and clear. You can, when you look through the front, you kind of see all the sparkle. So we're on the back. Okay, this is where I pounced the stickles. I've not turned them over. I'm still on the back. And I'm going to come in here and get my brush nice and wet. Okay. And now I'm going to just put a layer of the hard coat Mod Podge over the back of my ornament. So this is going on top of our stickles. Okay, right on top of where our stickles are. We'll do the angel first. So this is the front of my napkin. I'm going to turn it over. Sometimes it's hard to tell, but you should be able to tell what's the front and the back. And I'm going to lay this beautiful angel right down here onto the back. Now, I only put Mod Podge just kind of right there to kind of capture this. I'll come in and put a little bit more where I need it. But the first thing I want to do, and by the way, this is plastic wrap. This is like deli bakery sheets, or you could use plastic wrap from your kitchen. You could even cut apart like a sandwich baggie if you need to. I'm going to put this down as I smooth. I put it down over my napkin art, and I'm going to start smoothing. So I do this with kind of the fatty part of my fingers here, just in a circle. And then kind of get the middle where her face is, her pretty hands are, and then work my way to the edge. Okay, work my way to the edges. Perfect. Now, when you lift this off, you're going to see there's going to be some Mod Podge that comes up through the napkin. And that's actually what we want to see. But when we go to use this plastic wrap again, we need to use a part of it that does not have wet Mod Podge on it. You can let these dry and reuse them, but you never want to put down a part that has wet on it. So now you can kind of see here, I have just these little edges right here. Now, instead of trying to sand them or cut them or anything like that, I'm just going to take kind of this edge of my brush, and I'm just going to kind of brush up underneath them. You see that? Just kind of brushing up right underneath them. I'm going to do it on both sides. I'm going to go back to a clean part of my plastic wrap, and we're going to smooth that down. We're just going to let it round all the way around, kind of that kind of rounded corner of these ornaments. And we're going to lift this one back off, put it down here. All right, so pretty. Now I want you to you're going to have to kind of look with me here. I'm sorry about the lights. The lights are always problematic with something glass or clear. Do you see the sparkle? You should be able to see lots of sparkle happening. Let's go this way with it. Try to hold it. See the sparkle? All that sparkle. She looks beautiful. The angel is completely sparkling everywhere. She looks gorgeous. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. So now I'm going to just continue on. And now that I kind of know, because I learned a lot with the first one, right? Like I learned, now I kind of know if I go a little over that rounded corner, I'm not going to have to go back in and add my my hard coat Mod Podge that second time, right? Now I know. So I'm just going to make sure this goes around the corner a little bit. And don't worry if a little bit of it gets onto the glass, or I'm sorry, the plastic. These are now plastic, not glass. So I'm just going to take a little bit of this around the edge, because we still have other steps to do. So I don't want you to worry about that. All right. Let's do the wise men next. So again, I'm just gonna position it, and I'm vertically challenged. So I really, right now I'm sitting down, but I really want to stand up, but I'm not going to. But if it's hard for you to kind of see what you're doing, if you're vertically challenged like me, I'm a shorty, just stand up. Stand up when you're placing your napkin art down. And make sure, again, it's the front side we're putting down into the hard coat Mod Podge. Okay, it's the front side. So make sure and look at it really close. Make sure that you've got the front side touching. the Mod Podge. Now I don't have to do it that second time because I put this down. Beautiful. All right, let's see what this side's going to look like. Oh my goodness. Oh, it looks so pretty. Now it may seem a little bit milky right now, but that Mod Podge is going to dry, and it's going to dry crystal clear. Okay, it's going to dry nice and crystal clear. All right, let me go over here so I can kind of see a few comments. Are you not wearing pants? Yes, I'm wearing pants. I could stand up. Yeah, but I'm going to try to just be in my seat here. If I stand up, then all you're going to see is my belly. All right, so again, and I'm just going to take this a little bit around the rounded edges. All right, just a wee little bit. It won't take much. Just make sure that everything is stuck down. If you do have to go back in and add a little bit, like if you have a little corner that's not sticking or something, it's okay to go back in. All right, so my next one is the shepherds. The shepherds. So I'm going to turn it over. Make sure that I'm looking at the back side. And just barely kind of tap it down just to kind of hold it in place. And then take my plastic wrap and again start smoothing center and then work your way out. You don't have, this doesn't have to be heavy pressure either. It's just gentle. I'll call it gentle pressure. Just gentle pressure. Oh, gorgeous. I know, it's hard to see. I'll show you as they dry. I may have to turn this one light off that's straight above us. And do you see why I like doing this kind of like assembly line fashion? Just goes really quickly because you're doing all the same steps. And we're just repeating them. All right, just repeating them. See the difference in the Mod Podge? The Mod Podge really is different with the hard coat. It's not nearly as thick. Okay, this is going to be Joseph and Mary and baby Jesus. Turning it over. And again, just kind of tapping in place. And smoothing. These are such a great size for these ornaments. That's why it's nice when you get to design the napkin because you know what you want to do with it. So it was great knowing that I could come in and make these miniatures for us as crafters. These would be great, even if you don't do, if you just do a set of ornaments. I mean, the others could be great for card making or for tags. I think there's lots of uses for those smaller images. So you're probably going to see me do this more often with the napkins I'm designing. Okay, now then, all of our squares are done. Our squares are done. And again, you can kind of see, but that's going to dry nice and crystal clear. Okay, that hard coat, our napkin art didn't try to slide around or wrinkle up or anything because of the plastic surface. It's perfect. Okay, it's perfect. Now it's going to be a little different with the disc. Okay, with the disc, it's going to be just slightly different because it's not flat, right? It's going to be easier than if it was completely round, but it's a disc. It's somewhat flat and then it kind of curves, right? Somewhat flat and then it kind of curves. So when we get ready to put these on, it's still the same process, but I just want you to watch how I do it. Okay, I want you to watch how I do it. I want everybody's projects to turn out amazing. So I'm going back to the hard coat, and I'll just kind of go over the center area here first. Let me hold the piece right here. Just kind of all around this side of the disc. Okay, just go all around this side of the disc. Now we'll do True Story first. Okay, so True Story, I'm going to turn it over. Well, no, these are backwards because the words are backwards. And then I think I am going to stand up for this one. So at least just a little bit. All right. So I'm going to aim for the center. So watch what I do. Okay. The first thing I'm going to do is just focus on the center. Just little tap, little tap, little tap, little tap. Okay. Now we're going to have to deal with this rounded part. So this is what I like to do first. I'm going to cup my hand. Okay. Just like if you were going to cup some water up in your hand, I'm going to cup my hand. Actually, it's better if it's down here. I really want to be cautious about the words, right? That's the most important thing to me. So after I make sure those words are kind of, the letters are kind of where they need to be, I'm kind of cupping my hand and I'm kind of going around. Okay, just a little bit. Okay, that's just helping the napkin know where I need it to go. Is it going to wrinkle a little bit on the sides? Yes. It has to. It just has to be able to conform. Okay. So now that I've kind of cupped it, right? I'm going, or just kind of cupped my hand around it. I'm going to come over here now with my plastic wrap and we'll start smoothing, especially where the words are, right? I don't want like a big wrinkle or something running through one of my letters. I don't want it to distort the words. And then once I'm happy with those are down, then I'm literally just kind of taking my plastic wrap around and just kind of just smoothing it out. Okay, just all the way around. All right, now let's lift this up. Okay, so what I want you to see is my letters are good, but you're going to see there's going to be a few little wrinkles. Wherever we have wrinkles, it's going to be around this edge right here. Now you're also going to see there's a little bit of, that's just from the, there's still stickles around this outside edge. But let me show you the front. Let's see if we can get a picture of the front without a glare. That's going to be hard to show you. I'll try to kind of do it like that. Okay, again, it's kind of milky right now. It's going to dry really nice and clear. And then we're going to do something else to this to make it pop, okay, to all of these. So let's do another one. I really wanted y'all to see this part of the process. And then once we get our napkin art down on all of these, we're going to just kind of dry over it. We're going to make sure it feels good and dry. And then we're going to do a couple more steps that are really going to cause the napkin art to pop. Right now, it looks kind of muted, right? It looks kind of muted because there's nothing behind it to make it like pop, right? There's nothing behind it. We're going to fix that. All right, this one is Joy to the World, the Lord has come. I think I'm going to be okay just holding it like this when I put this one on. So again, I'm most focused on the letters, right? I'm most focused on the letters. Just kind of tapping them into place. If I have to have a wrinkle somewhere, I want it to be around the edges, not through a letter. Okay, feeling pretty good about this one. Okay, I'm just gonna, again, just kind of cut my hand over it. It just kind of sometimes helps the napkin kind of stretch a bit. Same thing with the plastic wrap. If you kind of pull the plastic wrap around it, it's going to help the napkin kind of stretch over that kind of rounded surface. This is much trickier if you have a complete ball circle ornament. That's why I like the discs, okay? The discs have a flatter surface, and what am I doing right now? I'm focusing on the letters, the words, right? That's what I want to focus on first. Make sure those are all nice and straight. And then I can come around. I usually come around with my thumb over everything else. Perfect. Perfect. And again, I don't want you guys worrying about this stuff around here, around the glass. Just leave it. Okay? Trust me. Just leave it. The only place we want to try not to get anything is on the front of the ornament. All right? That's why it's nice to keep the little hangers, the little toppers on here, right? Because you can kind of use that as a handle. All right, I need a little bit more Mod Podge here. Are we doing okay? Questions? For some reason, I can't get to open. I'm here, but just keeps spinning. Oh, that sounds like an internet or a Wi-Fi issue. Sandy, you might want to try going out and coming back in. Or I'm not sure what device you're using, but maybe try a different device. If you're using your phone, maybe get on your computer or your laptop, or if you're on your iPad, try your phone. Okay, believe in the miracle. I'm going to turn it over. Yeah, Stickles is like the glitter glue. What is the diameter of the plastic ornaments? Oh, I'll see if it says on the packaging. Again, first place I'm kind of tapping everything down is going to be over the letters. Okay, again, going to kind of just cut my hand. I usually do this a couple different directions. Some feels dry. And you'll get faster. I'm trying to kind of go kind of slow just so you can see, but you'll get faster as you do this. Okay, we have one more to go. Yeah, we're going to come back and edge it anyway, and I'll show you. I'll show you how I like to do that. There's a few different ways, so I'm going to give you some inspiration on a few things that you can do, and then I'll show you what I plan to do. All right, last one. Last one is Wise Men Still Seek Him. And again, this time, not just the words, the camels, right? The camels. Put this up just a little bit. There we go. I just want to make sure everybody can see. See how it's it almost looks kind of like a ruffle around the edge there a little bit. My hand. And if you're nervous to do that, you can always put your plastic wrap down first before you do that. I've just gotten into such a habit of how I do these. All right, now back here. Thank you guys so much for watching today. I hope you're enjoying learning the reverse decoupage process. It's just such a fun thing to do, especially with things that are clear, that are see-through glass. Could be plastic like these. These are plastic and shatterproof, which is something new. They used to be a really thin glass, and you had to be careful how much pressure you put on them and all the things. All right. Yay, yay, yay. Okay, so we've done all of that, right? Any questions with anything I've done so far? I don't know if I know somebody found some of I think it was the disc ones at Michael's, but I don't think they have the square ones. Glitterific, you guys, if you're wanting to use Glitterific is chunkier. It's a much, much chunkier glitter. And the only reason I don't use Glitterific instead of Stickles is finer. The glitter's finer, so it doesn't cover up any of the details, where sometimes I like Glitterific for like backgrounds and things, but not necessarily over an image, because it's got chunkier glitter. It'll kind of cover up some of your image. Okay. All right. Next thing I'm going to do, we'll go back to the squares while these have a little time to sit up and dry. So I'm going to go back to the squares here. I'm just going to pop them with a little bit of heat. This is a good time to check them. Make sure you don't have any like flippy corners, you know, any little corner or little edge that needs to be have a little Mod Podge put underneath it. And again, if you signed on late, I'm using the hard coat Mod Podge, which is the purple label. It is, in my opinion, the best for anything non-porous, glass, plastic, metal. Yes, you can napkinize all those things. All right, we just want to make sure these feel nice and dry, and actually they do. They've had some time to be sitting and drying. So pretty. That's kind of a good angle. Hopefully you can kind of see that. So hard with the lights in here. Isn't it beautiful? I just want you to see the sparkle. So this is very fine glitter. So it just works really, really well. So the next thing I'm going to do is just a very quick sealer. Basically, we're going to seal the tops of these very, very quickly with the hard coat Mod Podge. Okay. Again, same hard coat Mod Podge, purple label. Okay. Just very quickly. And it's really just over the napkin. Very quick, just very thin. Doesn't have to be much. I like for it to be pretty dry before I do this. That means the underneath coat is dry, so it doesn't try to lift or bubble. Very thin little coat, because we are going to, our next thing that we're going to do is we're going to put some paint behind these. And the reason we put the paint behind them is because when I've been showing these to you, they look almost kind of translucent, right? Because they have nothing behind them. The tissue is very, very sheer. There's nothing behind them. If we put some white paint behind them, oh my gosh, they are going to look beautiful. So again, this is reverse decoupage. Normally, if we were going to decoupage something, we would paint it first, right? We would put down our Mod Podge, we would put down the napkin tissue, we would add the sealer and then the stickles and all the things. This is reverse. We did stickles first, then we did Mod Podge, then we put the front of the napkin down, right? So you see the front through the glass. We're sealing it, and now we're going to add the paint. Okay, now we're going to add the paint. Now let's pop over these real quick. That's the other thing about the hard coat Mod Podge, it's thinner. So it just has a little different consistency. It dries faster, I think, in my opinion. And it's much more clear, right? You don't see brush strokes, you know, you just don't see as much. It's much clearer, much more clear. Okay. All right, I think those are okay. So again, just going to get this step out of the way. It doesn't have to be the whole entire ornament. It's really just, we just want to make sure that we have sealed this very thin napkin tissue. Okay, just a quick, thin coat. Now, after I do this next step, we're going to talk about embellishing them. I have some fun things. We're going to fill them. We're going to embellish them. And I probably won't fill all of them, embellish all of them, but I'll definitely do enough so that you can see what I'm doing. And we'll just see how our time's going then. I don't want to keep you guys tied up all day, all morning. Or afternoon, I guess. Probably afternoon by now here. Yep, it's 12:07 here. All right. Okay. We have done that top coat. We don't need the Mod Podge anymore. All right. Don't need the Mod Podge anymore. We're going to put this to the side. I'm going to grab my white paint. Now I'm going to use white today. The color is actually called Simplicity. If you're in my napkin club, you know how much we use Simplicity all the time. This is actually a chalk and mineral based paint, you guys. It's from Country Chic Paint. It's what I carry. I love using the chalk and mineral based paints for just about everything because I don't have to worry about them adhering. Chalk and mineral based paints just have a superior adhesion. And I'm kind of a thrifter, a junker. I like to repurpose things. And so I don't want to have to like switch back and forth between what paint will work on this and what paint will work on that. These work on everything. So these will, you can paint glass with them, plastic, all those things. And you don't have to have special primers or anything like that. So I am going to use a smaller brush this time. Let me find the smaller brush. I'm going to use a little bit smaller brush this time on the white. Now, if you don't have this kind of paint, just use your regular white craft paint, okay? That will be okay. I just prefer this. You're going to see why. It goes on thicker. Usually don't have to do as many coats. It dries really well and it will harden to the surface. Okay, it will really harden to the surface. So now that we've done our we put our sealer on. It's really thin, so it's already dry. Okay. I'm only going to paint half of this so you can see the difference. All right. I'm only going to paint half of this. So I'm going to paint where the napkin is. And if you get outside of the napkin, please don't worry about it. As I mentioned, we're going to do something around the edges. So just don't let that give you creative heartburn or anything. Don't worry about it. Okay. It's going to be all right. So I'm just going to put this little bit of white right on this part. Okay. You can see the coverage is really good. Now I'm going to turn this over. Okay. And I hope that you can tell. You can kind of see, look here, you can kind of see my line of paint right there. Do you see how this all just stands out so much more? Hopefully you can tell that, opposed to him, right? Do you see he's so translucent that we kind of lose him? But look here, we can see all the details, okay? So that's why we're putting this white coat of paint right back here. So I'm aiming to get it just on my napkin, but if it gets over a little bit, and it will, because it just does, it's not going to matter because we're going to add a pretty accent. Okay. We're going to add something pretty. Now you're going to have a lot of texture here because of our Stickles, our Mod Podge, our tissue, all the things. And it's up to you kind of how opaque you want this to be. I usually kind of will put one coat on, I'll let it dry, and then if it looks like I need to touch up somewhere, I'll come back in and touch it up. So see how we have some texture going on back there? Yeah, now let's look at this guy. Oh, look at him. You see? It makes a big difference. All right, let's look at our sheep right now. Okay, before paint. And then we'll look at them again here in just a second after paint. This is almost like a, oh, I kind of think of the paint process as almost like a spotlight coming through the, it's just giving it a nice bright background so that the colors can just really pop. I think this is only going to need one coat. If you're using regular craft paint, you might have to use a couple coats. You just have to see. All paints are a little different. All right. Remember those sheep? Okay, now look at them. Can you see how white they are? Yeah, they're more white. Everything is more vivid because of the paint going on behind. All right, let's do the angel. Okay, it's our sweet little angel. Oh my goodness, yes, Rose, it really does. It makes them really, really pop. And just wait until you see them like on a tree with like twinkle lights and, you know, all of that. The lights are just going to reflect so pretty. It almost makes your ornaments look like they're glowing. You can kind of position them near pretty lights in your tree or on a wreath or a garland. Oh gosh, that scared me. I don't know why my laptop keeps doing that. Go a little bit out of the way there, but that's okay. Okay. And now our angel. Much brighter, much more, just really pops the detail. I'm sorry about the lights. I know it's so hard for y'all to see. But I would definitely assembly line these because it's just going to go so much faster. And then once you've got it down, the next set will go even faster. And there we have Joseph and Mary, baby Jesus. Sorry, I'm not holding it very well. Let me turn it. Yeah, I wish we could see these better on camera. I'll try turning the overhead light off in a little bit and we'll see if that makes any difference. Trust me, you'll be able to see. All right, I think these are pretty dry. Now, when it comes to the rounds, obviously painting inside of a circle sometimes can be harder. But again, I plan on doing something on these. Okay, so if it gets kind of out of the way, we're going to do the same thing here. If it gets a little bit outside of your circle, please don't worry about it. In fact, on this one, on these, I think I'm going to actually paint the whole back of the base of the disc. So I'm going to go ahead and bring it all the way. So I'm going to go outside of my napkin on this one to the edge. Just go to that edge. There we go. So I'm actually going to paint outside the napkin on this one. Oh, that's pretty. So see how you see the white kind of going around it? Yeah, I like that. All right, let me go over here so I can, again, look at comments. I wish I could read every single comment. Can you use a pit? Okay, here's a good question. Can you use a pit pen on these? And if so, before you paint the back? Well, here's the thing. If you try to do pen work on the back, it's not really going to show through. So I generally don't do pen work on when I'm doing the reverse decoupage technique. If you do pen work on top of the napkin, you're going to risk, before you decoupage it on, you're going to risk it looking fuzzy because napkins were kind of made to absorb things. And that pen work is going to get absorbed kind of into your napkin. So I generally don't do pen work when I'm doing reverse decoupage. If you do want to do pen work, it's going to show up best if it's on the top of the napkin. And as long as you don't mind it being a little fuzzy, then, you know, you could do that. But it's, you know, we can't really seal it. If you do pen work from the back, honestly, it just doesn't show very much. It doesn't show enough to make it worth it for me. And you guys know how much I love pen work. Like, I love pen work. And if it's not going to show up enough, then it's not really worth the time and effort. Yeah, this one's just way easier. Just go ahead and just take your brush just all the way around. Our other napkin, the square napkins kind of extend to the edges. They kind of go over the edges a little bit, but these round ones don't. So having that little white going around them, I think it's going to be actually very pretty. So pretty. Pretty, pretty. Okay, one more. And then after we do this step, we're going to just dry the paint. That was a good question about the pen mark, Beth. Thank you. What is that? I would love to see that. Yeah, we're going to do something on the paint after. Again, just another idea. Because if you did want to, when this paint is dry, if you wanted to put another piece of napkin art back here, we could, and face it outward, right? Just like regular, not reverse decoupage, just like regular decoupage. But sometimes I do something else with them. I'm not as concerned with the back. But like I said, you could write on them, maybe get some pretty metallic paint markers or your gold leaf pen. But I kind of take advantage of the texture, and that's what I'm going to show you next. Okay, paint is done. Now I'm going to come back. This is a good time to come back and kind of look as the paint dries, is usually when you can tell if, like, you know, if you have any little spots to touch up. I think everything looks pretty good though. Our squares are pretty much dry already. As I mentioned, that the chalk paints they just dry so quickly. And as I mentioned, the other thing that's really great about the chalk and mineral based paints is they harden. So they're going to what it's called the curing process. So even though they're dry, they're not cured yet. It's going to take about 24 hours or so probably for this amount of paint just to totally harden to the surface. That's why I love it, because it will harden to glass or plastic or metal or whatever it is that I'm painting. Okay. So if you're using acrylic paint, sometimes acrylic paint can peel off. Now, I don't think that will happen in this case because I don't expect these to be really handled, you know, in that way where they might peel off. So I think they're going to be fine. But just again, just want to give you kind of the benefit, or make sure you understand the benefit of knowing when you're working with chalk and mineral based paints, they will harden and cure, which is the hardening process. They will harden to your surface, and you just don't have to worry about them at all. These particular ones that we carry also have a sealer built into them, so you don't even have to go back and seal on top of them. That sealer will harden also in the curing process. Okay. Feels pretty dry to me. All right. You guys ready to have some fun now with them? Okay. So couple different things here. Again, if you have a Krylon pen, maybe you want to come in here and put the year on the back of these, or you want to put a little note, who they're to, who they're from, your initials and the date, or something like that. You could do that easily with a Krylon pen or any kind of metallic paint marker. Okay. The Krylon pen, what makes it different is it's actually 18 karat gold. So it is gorgeous, 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 gorgeous. And this is one way that we can come in and we can kind of edge around our paint, those kind of things. What I'm going to show you first, though, is because we have all this texture going on the back of these, I really love to use, this is kind of a paste wax, okay? It's called Vintage Gold. It's Art Alchemy metallic wax. It also will harden, so you don't have to worry about sealing it or anything like that. It can be really pretty to just kind of accentuate the texture. Okay, so you could put it on with a brush or with your fingers, whichever you'd like. I'm going to squeeze a little bit in this little plastic cup. And again, I kind of like using my finger. Okay, if you've used like Rub and Buff, this is kind of similar to that. So I'm going to put a little bit here on my finger, and then just kind of come in and just let it kind of lightly catch all of the texture. Okay, just kind of, so it just kind of makes this texture look pretty. You can still sign the back. You could still decoupage something on the back. This is the back side of our ornament. And I usually start off kind of light, and then I can decide, you know, if I want to go heavier or not. But it's really pretty. See how reflective it is? Yes. It's so pretty. So it's just another way to kind of dress up. It's almost kind of a distressed kind of look, but it's metallic gold. So it looks really pretty. Let's do some on one of these. And you'll kind of get the feel for like how much you want to use. Just start off kind of light, and you can press out heavier. I think they're really pretty. Just kind of a pretty way to make them feel kind of finished on the back. Now, while I'm doing this, I'm going to go ahead and turn on my glue gun so that can be getting hot. And we're just trying to stay kind of on the painted area. Now, remember, if you're only going to make 8 ornaments, you have the other napkin art images, right? So if you wanted to put, if you wanted to make them double-sided, you could. Okay, so just keep that in mind. So again, just depends on how heavy you want to put this on. Isn't that pretty? Just gives them a really pretty effect. And you can just go as heavy or as light as you want. I'll go heavier on this one around the edges. So you can kind of see like around this edge. Yeah, you can take it on as heavy or as light as you want. You see that? Just kind of a fun, pretty way to kind of accentuate the back. Then where everything meets, we have a couple of options, right? Where the kind of the clear part of the ornament meets the painted part of the ornament. Yeah, we have options. That's where we could take our gold leaf pen and basically just kind of draw a nice line between the two. But we also have another option. We could do ribbon or trim. Actually, what I love to do is this vintage, this kind of tinsel. This I got at Hobby Lobby. You can find it around where the miniature tree ornaments and things are. But they have this kind, they have it in gold, they have it in silver. So this can be pretty, or you can use, like I said, the gold Krylon pen is gorgeous. Maybe you want to use a thin ribbon. The problem with ribbon, again, you've got all these kind of oh, what should we say, rounded edges, right? It's not super flat. So using something that has, you know, that's not too big, a smaller ribbon or even a cording, that would look really good too. You can also come add some stickles to the backs of your ornaments as well. If you want to stamp something, you could stamp. Remember, this has a little bit of texture. So what I teach my gals in the napkin club to do is, remember those napkin plies that we took off of our napkins? I tell them to stamp on those, to actually stamp on those. That way they get the image just the way they want it, and then decoupage it down. And if you do that, then I suggest using, I usually use Archiver's ink to stamp with. And I stamp on that leftover tissue and then just decoupage it, because I can stamp on a nice firm surface, right? A solid surface, not one that has all this texture on it, and then just decoupage the tissue on. Okay. All right. I'm going to quickly do a couple more of these, because I can always come back in and fuss with the backs of these. You can also use this stuff to change the color of your topper. Do you know that? Right now, the toppers for all these ornaments are silver. If you want them to be gold, this is what you use. You just use this wax stuff, and it is great. You can also use your Krylon pen for that. So these two items are great. Ooh, I got a lot on that one, didn't I? Just smooshed that one around. So I'll show you how to do that, because you might want the toppers to be gold. You might want them to be silver. I don't know. I'll let you guys decide that. This stuff comes in, this one's called vintage gold, but there's also old silver. And then there's also one that's white gold, and it's really pretty too. So it just depends on the look that you want. All right, I just have one more. Let's see if I can clean up my little plastic bowl here. And then I'll show you how to change your toppers. I just love seeing it, how it grabs all that texture. So pretty. Okay, so let's turn them over. Oh my goodness, they're so beautiful. They're so beautiful. And they really pop because they have the white behind it, and they have all the sparkle, which I know is hard to see on the camera, but it's there. Just really pretty. So let's see. Let's say we want to take this one. I'm just going to grab one of these off. Okay. And we want to change it to gold. Okay. Again, we can do the paste wax, or and if you don't want to use your fingers for this, again, we can use a brush, but you can actually come in with the paste wax and just kind of start rubbing this on. Okay. Now these are a little bit more slick. It's like a really bright, shiny, almost aluminum. So the other option is, I didn't put hardly any on this because I just want to show you. You've seen how to do this. You can rub it in with your fingers, rub it in with a brush, let it dry, put another coat on. You can do multiple coats. Okay. Let me kind of wipe this off. But here's your other option, is the Krylon pen. Okay, so the Krylon pen, let me find a scrap piece of paper here. It loads like a paint pen. Can you hear it? Hear the little ball bearing thingy in there? And then you're going to press it down. And that's how you're going to load up your paint. And then we can come in and we can literally, it's like you're just kind of painting over these. I'll do half of this one. You can come back in on the sides. I usually don't try to get like down in all the nooks and crannies because I kind of like the gold and the silver together. I like how that looks. So let me show you what that looks like. There, isn't that pretty? So we can make this look gold. Okay, you can make these look gold, or you can keep them silver, or you can do a little bit of both, right? Silver and gold to me looks pretty together. Some people are more silver people, seems like. Some people are more gold people. You just do you. This is very easy to do, and this stuff dries fast. It dries very, very fast. Okay. Isn't that pretty? Okay. So let's stick this over here to dry. Now you know how to change those. I'm not going to do them all. That's something I can do on my own later if I choose to do some of them. Let's talk about embellishing. So I'm going to go back to my pen here because I know I didn't show this. So I'm going to load this up. So if you wanted to, this is where I was talking about, if you want to kind of bring your gold pen, do you see how we can just take that gold pen and kind of line all along here? Now, I've been trying to go kind of fast. I hope that you guys will take this a little bit slower. But do you see what I mean? Like you can go in and you can edge all of this out. Okay. Now right here, you can see I got a little speck of, I don't know what that is, but look, it's just, oh, maybe that was from my finger. That must've been just on my fingers. So you'll still be able to go clean them, you know, all the things, but it is nice knowing that you can just kind of come in here and just help everything look nice and clean. Okay. Does that mean it has to be super straight? No. Reload it. Make sure we have fresh. It just kind of gives it a really nice kind of finished off look. Okay. And you can do that with the round ones or the square ones. I mean, any of them. Okay. I'll give that a second to dry. Now, the other option is this stuff, which I love. I love this stuff. So let's put this around here. So what I like to do with this is I literally hot glue it kind of right around this edge. So we get this pretty, almost kind of like a frame of our ornament. It looks so pretty. So this I'm going to use hot glue for. And I'm going to start kind of back here, almost kind of like at the back edge of the ornament. And this is kind of fluffy, so, and it's going to grab the glue really, really well. So let me show you kind of where I'm starting. This is the back, so it'll be right here kind of at the back of the ornament. And then I'm just going to kind of squiggle my hot glue. And then just kind of a gentle tap. So this is the part where we just start embellishing, and it's just fun, right? This is just the fun part. And I'm going to work my way all the way around. Now I'll do the same thing with I can do the same thing with the round ornaments. And here's the thing, they don't all have to be decorated the exact same, right? Like you can be a little different, have some of them be one way, some be another way. Let's see, that's going to go to about right there. So it will look like this from the back, but it will look like this from the front. Isn't that pretty? Now we haven't put anything inside yet. We're going to do that next. Okay. All right. So talking about the inside, right? And again, this is something that, again, if you'd rather just kind of outline them out, like I said, they don't all have to be exactly the same. Just kind of have fun, play with them. Golds and silvers are going to look gorgeous on these. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and take this one out, and I'll put this one's dry now. Oh, well, we're going to fill it. Let's go ahead and fill it. Okay, when we talk about filling the ornaments, I want you guys to be careful not to overfill. All right, and it's really easy to overfill these sometimes. What I like to use inside of my ornaments, okay, is a little bit of this iridescent snow. Now you can get this snow at your craft stores. A lot of them carry it. I know Hobby Lobby carries it. A lot of places carry it. What I want you to be careful about is don't get the little, some places sell the bags of snow that look like little teeny tiny styrofoam balls. Okay. Don't get those because they're staticky and they want to kind of stick all inside. We just want this to kind of sit into the bottom of our clear ornament. Okay, so I really like the kind of iridescent snow. And when you're putting this in, again, let me show you other things because I'm going to put this one in here. Okay, other things we can put in, little gold balls, right? Gold and silver balls. These came from Dollar Tree. Okay. They're also, I have some that are a little bit bigger here. These were like a garland, and I just cut the garland up. And so they're a little bit bigger styrofoam glitter balls. There are some snowflakes here. I even have been able to squeeze some little pine cones through the opening. So it just depends kind of what do you want to put in there, right? Maybe some pearls, some little beads. Something like that. Okay. So I'm going to start by just putting a little bit into, these are just little condiment cups, but a little bit of snow goes a long way. Okay. A little bit of snow goes a long way. So I'm just going to kind of start, and I generally do this over a piece of paper. So it's really easy to clean up and get back into, or even fold a piece of paper. Okay, so you can see I'm kind of starting to fill the bottom. I'm going to put in a little bit more. I don't want to put in so much that it covers up too much of my image, right? I don't want to cover up too much, but I love having some down here in the bottom. And I'm going to put in some of these little small glitter balls. Gold and silver, right? See how pretty that is? If you want to put in a few of the bigger ones, right? We can put in a few of the bigger ones. Look how pretty that is. Isn't that pretty? So obviously, you know, they're going to move around. You can shake them up, you know, all the things. But I really love the snow and the glitter balls. That's like one of my favorite things to put inside of these. But you may have other things that you want to put in there. You might even want to, because this is faith-based, right? A lot of times you can find even like little cross charms or little angel charms. There might be a little charm that you want to put inside here. Okay, so have fun filling them. Don't overfill them. If you overfill them, you're going to cover up a lot of your image. Okay, so I'm going to warn you to be a little careful about that. You don't want to overfill. I'm going to put in a few more of these little guys. Jingle bells. You could do jingle bells. I mean, there's all kinds of things because just because we're doing this with faith-based napkins, I mean, you can make these with all kinds of napkin art. I even printed some photos onto white gift tissue and made some photo ornaments like this last year and gave them to my kids. So yeah, there's lots of ways. You know what? I don't know. Is this one fit this one? Did I take this out of a, you know what? I took that out of a disc. This one's bigger. That's why it wasn't fitting. Okay, well, I'll just put this back on. Okay, so now I have, I'm going to have to go back in, you know, and clean these up. I'll clean up the front because my hands have gotten messy, gotten stuff on them. But I think you can see how beautiful that is, right? Now, if I turn it, it's all going to fall. Okay. Next up, what I like to do is decorate the tops. Okay, we're going to decorate the tops a little bit. And I like to do this with a little bit of greenery. If you have any kind of like, you know, frosted greenery, little pine sprigs, I kind of like the ones that are frosted. Sometimes you'll find little things like this, you know, little picks, things like that you might want to use. I'm going to, oh, these are cute too. Let's see how small, these are kind of small and delicate. So let's cut these down. You just cut them down to whatever size you want them to be. And again, this is where just personal preference comes into play, right? Like we're just having fun. You want to decorate them however you want them to look. So I'm going to start off with some greenery, and I'm going to put my greenery on right about here. Let's put some, again, hot glue is going to be great for this. So I'm going to put a little bit of greenery right there. Just have to hold it for a second. Ribbons, bows. I'm going to put a bow on this one too. I think this one's a little bit long. Let me cut this one shorter. More hot glue. Yeah, that's better. Just made this one a little shorter. So you can just cut them to whatever size you want them to be. This is the fun part, the embellishment part. Hot glue didn't hold long for you? Really? I have not had any problems. But yeah, if it's not holding well for you, definitely you can use something else. Okay, so I just kind of want you to see what I've done there. Just a couple little sprigs here and there. Okay, and then now I'm going to add some ribbon. Yeah, if you need to use something other than hot glue, I would probably say, let's see if this is going to be too thick. I don't want, this is another thing. I think these are so pretty and they're so delicate. I don't want to use like a really, a ribbon that's too much, I guess is the right word. see how that's going to look. Oh, that's so sweet. So you can decide if you just want to do like a regular bow, if you want a double bow. Y'all know there's lots of ways that we can make bows. I think I'm just going to do a pretty little single here. And again, because I don't want anything to overpower the ornament. I'm going to put the hot glue kind of right here on the front. And I want the ribbon tails to kind of go to the side. So just kind of pull them where you need them to go. If we need to use a little dot of glue, we can. Because again, I don't want them to cover up the image. Oh, that's kind of cute. I can kind of pull that one up. I'll make this one a little shorter and then that fixes that. Okay, so you can kind of see what's going on here. Right, and now I'm holding it down. That's why all this is falling forward. But just a sweet little bow, just something really sweet and small. If you want to put something in the center of your bow, you know, maybe you want to do a snowflake, right? Maybe I still have a couple of these left over. I found these last year in the little miniature ornament aisle, right? Looks kind of like the Bethlehem star. So this is the front. So if I wanted to put something like that on my bow, I could do that too, right? This is a good one for this because it's Mary, Joseph, and baby Jesus. Hopefully I put it up high enough. Okay, isn't that pretty? Right, now there's my hanger, so I can still put my hook. And by the way, there are so many pretty ornament hangers out there. Here's one with, again, a star. There's one with a star. I also picked up a new package. These just kind of have some beads on them. And I was like, oh, these would be pretty. So if you want like special ornament hangers, we have all kinds of decorative ornament hangers. Sometimes I like just a simple loop of ribbon, you know, so it just depends. It depends on where they're going to go, where you're going to, you know, if they are going to go on a tabletop tree, then you might just need a simple hook, right? Or a simple piece of ribbon and just tie them onto the branches where you want them to go. Okay. So I know it's kind of hard to see inside. I'll try to get some pictures though, where you can really see inside, because if I turn this other light off, that's not going to help anything. I'll try to show you here. Now, remember, yeah, anytime I try to lift up, it's going to, remember that when we do put this around lights, it's going to light up as well, okay? All we have here is just this little white paint that's behind the napkin. So when it's around the tree and you have lights in the tree or wherever you're going to put these in a garland or on a wreath, the lights are going to kind of cause them to glow. All right. They're going to be really, really pretty. Okay. So how do you like this one so far? And I'll come back in and clean it. All the fun things, make sure it's pretty and clean. And then I'll stick them into something to take some pictures for you. Okay. So all of these are going to be, I'm just going to add a little bit of something, a little bit of snow, maybe some of the little glitter balls and things inside decorate the top however you feel like you want to, right? And that's the fun part. If you want little sprigs of greenery, you can have it. If you want a bigger bow, you can do that. I even think, as we mentioned jingle bells a while ago, these are bigger jingle bells. So these I don't think would go down through the hole on the inside. But if you want to do like maybe a cluster of jingle bells at the top, right? Like at the top with some ribbon, that would be really pretty. So I think just kind of trying different things on them. If you want them to all look exactly the same, of course, you can do that too.